Pythagorean Theorem. Triangles. They're everywhere. They're in our art. They're in our toys. They're in our buildings and architecture. They're everywhere. They inform us. They're in our mysteries. They're in nature. 3 different sides. The 2 legs. And the hypotenuse. When he figured out this relationship, things changed.
hypotenuse of a right triangle. It has been used for thousands. Not a hippopotamus, a hypotenuse.
Yeah, a hippopotamus.
No, hypotenuse.
That's what I said.
Fine, I give up.
No, come back. I was just kidding. Wow, he's touchy. Oh well, let's see. A right triangle has one angle that equals 90 degrees. It has two legs and a hippopotamus. Oh, wait. I mean hypotenuse, which is the biggest side. It's like a hippopotamus because it's big, but it's called a hypotenuse. If you look closely, you'll see the hypotenuse is opposite of the right angle. Usually, a right triangle is marked with the letters A, B, and C, where A and B represent the legs, and C is the hypotenuse. This helps us write the Pythagorean Theorem. Well, hopefully Spro comes back and tells you about it. Math teachers, other angles and distances around that 90-degree angle. More math? But that's later on, so don't panic. For now, let's just prove whether or not a triangle is a right triangle.
So you got this triangle with sides 6, 8, and 10. And you're not 100% sure it's a right triangle. Well, you can use the Pythagorean theorem to prove whether or not it is. All you do is square the legs and add them together. If they equal the square of the hypotenuse, then it's a right triangle. Remember, the legs are the two shorter sides, and the hypotenuse is the longest one. It's across from the right angle, or at least the angle we think is 90 degrees, so the equation will look like this. 8 squared equals 8 times 8, 6 squared equals 6 times 6, and 10 squared equals 10 times 10. 8 times 8 equals 64, 6 times 6 equals 36, and 10 times 10 equals 100. 64 plus 36 equals 100. Oh, so this is definitely a right triangle. The Pythagorean theorem is a theorem, which means that someone has actually proved it is true. And since it has been around for a very long time, many different people have created various ways to show it exists. The one I like is this one. If you watch carefully, you can see that a squared plus b squared equals c squared. But let's take a closer look. Here is a square which has 4 right triangles that are the exact same size. These triangles create another square inside. This yellow square has 4 equal sides. We'll call each one C, which are also the hypotenuses of the 4 right triangles. To find the area of a square, we multiply 2 of the sides, or just square one of them, since they're all the same. So the yellow area is C squared. Let's take a look at the 4 triangles. Remember, they are all the same size. If we mark all their legs A and B, it will get a little confusing.
Sides of a right triangle, the largest of the sides is equal to the sum of the other 2 sides. Now, this is important. It only happens when the sides are square, and the largest side of the triangle is the one opposite the 90-degree angle. Example to compute distances that can be physically measured. For example, what is the distance AC across the lake? Because measuring a distance using a boat is not very accurate, measuring AB and BC was achieved over land. However, there is no need to measure AC, for it can be computed using the Pythagorean theorem. In other words, square AB, square BC, add AB and BC in the squared form. Find the square root using a calculator and, rounding off, the distance across the lake is 7.859 miles. The Pythagorean theorem can be stated using the following formulas to compute each side. The hypotenuse, which is side C, is found by the square root of the addition of the squares of side A and side B. Side A is found by the square root of the subtraction of the square of side B from the square of side C. And side B is found by the square root of the subtraction of the square of side A from the square of side C. For example, a carpenter is building the frame of a room. If the room is 6 meters wide and 7 meters long, how can she check if the room is rectangular? In a rectangle, the diagonals are equal. The best way for the carpenter to know if she has a rectangle with 90-degree angles is to make the diagonals equal. What is the length of the diagonals if the sides are 6 and 7? Using the Pythagorean theorem, the diagonals become the hypotenuse of the triangle made up from the sides of the frame. Square 6, square 7. Adding 36 and 49, you get 85. Square root of 85 is 9.22. The diagonal must be 9.22 meters for the room to be a rectangle.
Triangle is the longest side. Triangle, hypotenuse. Right triangle is the longest side. Triangle, hypotenuse. I'm sure so the next is the longest side. Like a kidney's like you're right, like a playground site. Up to them up to plane. They won't want a tangle if you so hypotenuse like a right triangle. Cubes and obtuse have no hypotenuse now, no angles of 90 degrees. Acute and obtuse have no hypotenuse now, no angles of 90 degrees. Hypotenuse, right triangle is the longest side. Triangle, hypotenuse, right triangle is the longest side. Triangle, hypotenuse. The hotness one is so burning like a flame, like the hot summer sun. Measuring degrees, 90 is the angle. Opposite hypotenuse in the right triangle. Opposite 90, yes, opposite 90, yes, opposite 90 degrees. Opposite 90, yes, opposite 90, yes, opposite 90 degrees. Hypotenuse, right triangle is the longest side. Triangle, hypotenuse, right triangle is the longest side. Triangle, hypotenuse. That was my man. Discovered that theorem. You didn't live in ancient Greece. I know you couldn't hear him. A root of right triangle. Pythagoras advised. A squared plus B squared is what he advised. A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared. Hypotenuse is letter C. A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared. Hypotenuse is letter C. Hypotenuse, right triangle.
Let's put the Pythagorean theorem to the test.
It's mathematical symbols and signs. The most complex becomes simple with time. Mathematics, see what you find when you start to look for it with a disciplined mind. Mathematics, logic and proof that is used to determine mathematical truth. It's mathematics. Step into class, and by the time the bell rings, I hope you're ready for math. It's mathematics. In a right triangle given two sides, use the Pythagorean theorem you can find unknown value, so you have three. Label all the sides with an A, B, and C. Yo, looking for the C? This is where you find me. I am that side right across from the 90 degrees. The angle with the little square, shaped like an L for the legs that are there. If we call them legs, what we call the third side, it's the hypotenuse. Say it if you heard it right, hypotenuse. Longer than the other two, so to find the missing side, here is what you're gonna do. Set up this equation, C is on its own. Of the three numbers, it is always alone. It goes A squared, yeah, plus B squared, yeah, yo, equals C squared, yeah, that's right. Use the Pythagorean theorem you can find unknown value, so you have three. Label all the sides with an A, B, and C. In a right triangle given two sides, use the Pythagorean theorem you can find unknown value, so you have three. Label all the sides with an A, B, and C. A squared, yeah, yo, plus B squared, yeah, equals C squared, yeah, that's right, yeah. Use this equation when you find out your side. Yo, here's a way to do it when you're given both legs. Square them, add them, see what you get. Take the square root of that, that's the last step. Now you just found the hypotenuse, right? It's a little different when one leg is missing. Set up the equation, everything in its position. Square the hypotenuse, same for the leg. Subtract the smaller number from the bigger one to get down to this last step, take the square root. So I'm pretty sure that you know what to do, right? It's the last step, take that square root. Now I'm pretty sure that you know what to do, right?
First, we'll need a string. Stretch it good and tight. Plunk it. Now divide in half. Plunk again. You see? It's the same tone, one octave higher. Now divide the next section. And the next. Pythagoras discovered the octave had a ratio of 2 to 1. With simple fractions, he got this. And from this harmony in numbers developed the musical scale of today. This was when he shared his findings with his pals, a fraternity of eggheads known as the Pythagoreans. They used to meet in secret to discuss their mathematical discoveries. Only members were allowed to attend. They had a secret emblem, the pentagram. Let's see what the topic is for today. One, two, three. One, two, three.
a sledge. 5 minutes here, 3.5 plus 4, 2, 4.5 minus 3, divided by 9.
You're making it tough for yourself, Donald.
How do you like that for mathematics, Mr. Spirit?
Wonderful, Donald. And now you're ready for the most exciting game of all.
Oh, boy!
Pythagoras is best known for his theorem that shows the relationship of sides of a right triangle. The Pythagorean theorem states that the sum of the squares of the legs of a right triangle is equal to the square of the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is always the longest side of a right triangle. In the formula, A and B are the legs of the right triangle, and C is the hypotenuse. This formula shows the relationship between the sides. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. I myself can relate with the Pythagoreans. The Pythagorean theorem may be an old concept, but I see it all the time in my life. I'm a huge baseball fan. I played baseball my whole life. My dream was always to play baseball for the Minnesota Twins. One great example in which I see the Pythagorean theorem in my life is a baseball diamond. It is given in Major League Baseball that all the bases are 90 feet away from each other. They make a diamond. If I want to find out how far home plate is from second base, I can use the Pythagorean theorem to help me. Home to second is the hypotenuse, while home to first and first to second are the legs. We know the formula is A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So 90 squared plus 90 squared equals C squared. 90 squared plus 90 squared equals 16,200. So C squared equals 16,200. To find C, you need to find the square root of 16,200 feet. C ends up equaling 127.28 feet. That is the distance from home plate to second base. There are so many other examples in my life.
A squared plus B squared equals Arnold Schwarzenegger in Pythagorean Theorem.
My name is Professor John Vector. I am a mathematician.
In a world where mathematics was king, Professor John Vector had it all.
There's no supplementary angle for true love.
Until one day, someone did a calculation on him.
If you don't solve the hypotenuse on this triangle, I'll detonate a nuclear weapon in California.
The opposite of a right triangle is a wrong triangle. I am going to bisect all the consecutive interior angles in Matt Damon's skull.
In a time when Matt Damon was just being a douchebag.
No! In the name of George W. Pythagoras, I must solve the triangle! No!